There are different ways of measuring anxiety and arousal. For example, observation, questionnaires, and physiological. These are the simple three basics. Observation is when you just watch someone and you can see what's happening to them. Questionnaires is when you ask someone what they believe happened. And physiological you can measure such as heart rate or sweat by using things such as blood pressure machines, stuff like that. One example of a test is the SCAT test by Martins in 1977. The SCAT stands for Sport Competition Anxiety Test. This gives us an idea of the performer's level of state anxiety in a competitive situation. There are 4 factors identified that can relate to competitive anxiety. The first one is the individual differences between performers and how they interact with different situations. The second one is the different types of anxiety, for example, state or trait, and which they have experienced. Third factor is the specific anxiety trait experienced only in competitive situations. And the final factor is the competition itself. For example, in the scenario, we know that Sarah has state anxiety, which is one of the different types of anxiety, which is factor 2. And then you could link it to the competitive situation. This could then lead to the perception of threat, which could then lead to competitive state anxiety in Sarah, and therefore reducing her performance. Another type is the competitive state anxiety inventory. This is a self-report to measure cognitive state anxiety, somatic state anxiety, and self-confidence. It can then be compared with pre-competition levels and during levels. The graph in the bottom left shows this study, and the blue line is cognitive anxiety, and the green line is somatic anxiety. We can describe this graph as cognitive anxiety is high a long time before the competition. However, just before the competition it will steadily increase, and then it will fluctuate during the performance as a chance of success or failure changes, and could become lower or could increase. However, somatic anxiety is a lot lower to begin with, and it won't increase or react before performance. However, once competition is started or very close to starting, it will suddenly increase quickly. However, it generally decreases really quickly after. The 2 patterns from the graph indicate that cognitive anxiety increases leading up to competition, remains high, and does not increase prior to the start of the competition, and then it will fluctuate during competition as a result of success or failure. However, somatic anxiety will remain low until a dramatic rise a few hours before the event, and then decreasing during competition. There are also individual differences linking to the zones of optimal function on the bottom right. For example, Hannon proposed that each athlete possesses an optimal zone or range of anxiety most beneficial to performance. As I said, that was from Hannon in 2000. This is known as a zone of optimal function. Research has shown that some individuals can tolerate a wide range of anxiety intensity before experiencing a decline in performance, whereas other performers are at their best when anxiety lies within a very narrow range. This was also proposed by Hannon in 2000. Research does show that too much anxiety can negatively affect an athlete's performance, but if the amount of anxiety is within the athlete's zones, then the result will be positive.